social media. So sites such as Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat today have audiences, each of them approaching 1 billion unique visitors per month. What benefits are there for self-storage operators in social media? And the question is how they should capitalize on a social media boom. If Store's observation of social media is that today in self-storage, it's a lot about the interaction with other self-storage companies, not necessarily with the consumer, but we've seen an increasing trend of consumer interaction, especially as social media is sort of evolving and becoming more than just an advertisement of your page. And so I wanted to kind of see where Sparefoot is seeing social media evolving today.
Yeah, well, honestly, we have definitely not figured social media out yet in a constructive way. So we've never been able to make any money off social media.
You have a robust blog, right?
Yes.
And
I guess if you consider that social media.
right, and it's
I'm talking like Facebook.
Right,
Twitter.
you're talking about Facebook and Twitter, right? Exactly, and it makes it difficult to monetize with those sites because they're really all about either selling their ad space or just about connecting people, and they do other things with their audience, right?
Well, I think it just comes down to people are not impulse buying storage.
Yeah.
You need storage when you need storage. Yeah. And advertising to you on Facebook is, unless you can find the person at the right time, exactly at the right place, then it's not gonna work.
Right. Yeah, self-storage is really a need-based purchase. Yeah. It's not a want. It's not like a soda. You can make people want to try the new cherry Red Bull.
Yeah, you can't put a nice picture of a storage facility and convince someone to get one if they don't need it.
We tried. Yeah. So my personal observation on Facebook is that people ask questions like that all the time. It seems kind of random to me personally, but people do. They're like, hey, I'm going to Palm Springs. I want to know where there's a good place to hike, right? Or I'm going to be in Detroit. Anyone know a good hotel or a great restaurant, blah, blah, blah. On our Storeits Facebook page, which is, has a relatively strong, like and user base and friend network, we don't get people saying like, hey, I'm in Missoula, Montana. Anyone know a good storage unit? Not sure why there isn't that nexus of the consumer wanting to know about self-storage. That's our observation. Curious what you guys are observing.
Yeah, so Chuck's right. Storage, obviously, it's need-based. It's not brand-specific. So we often get asked the question, how often should I be involved with Facebook? Should I be posting on it once a week? Should I be posting on it more than that? I don't really think there's a set answer. I think you have to look at your market and how many followers maybe you have, or maybe even look at what other facilities are doing in your market. But one thing that you do want, to your point, Bill, is to pay attention to it, because you're exactly right. There are people that go to Facebook a lot, and especially if they have a negative experience. So you need to have people on those so that you can respond to, whether it's people asking questions about who they should use, or even about just storage tips in general. And that's what our strategy with it is to try and be, I guess, informative on there more and helpful more than, you see facilities constantly out there pushing promotions on people that don't actually need a storage unit. It becomes annoying. Mm-hmm. So when you're using, social media, you're using it to follow what people are talking about, maybe about your facility, good or bad. And then also, you're using it maybe to be helpful. You don't always have to be talking about storage. You're being social. You're talking about maybe things that are going on in your community. And that's kind of the approach that...
Which maybe for self-storage owners in the industry, that's it. Because if you listen to our conversation right now, you're thinking like, we really shouldn't be spending much time in social media. But I think Nick brought up the point that germane to self-storage industry, and Chris can probably talk about this as well, is that maybe what that means is that after your customers moved in and they're now your renter is when you start engaging on social media, because you want to make sure they're satisfied, they're having a good experience, and they're talking about, maybe they like, we love our manager Ann at Missoula Storage. And then all of a sudden people may not be asking like, hey, do we know a good storage in Missoula? But they might be, they might see that comment, know, and appreciate it. And it gives a lot of credibility. It's really like a built-in social media review.
So I've got 3 points to that concept. One, the Facebook page is a necessary evil. You got to be careful that it's not just a walking billboard. I feel like that's what storage kind of falls into, that just posting your daily special kind of thing, and that, as Nick said, the conversation doesn't happen there. So make sure to engage as well. I think, too, I agree that storage is out of necessity, but I also think with Facebook and doing ad buys on that well, there's brand identity there. And when I do have that necessity for storage, I'm going to resonate, or I'm going to look for brands I associate with first. And so I think from a pure branding perspective, not from a necessary lead perspective, I think Facebook can be a good tool that way. And then I totally forgot my third point.
Well, that's okay.
It was fantastic, and I forgot it.
Well, the first two were so good, we got distracted.
There we
too.
go, yeah.
And frankly, that kind of credible brand building is exactly what the whole purpose of social media, sort of entrepreneurs was in the first place, was that, this is a way to for society to build the brand, of that company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my third point in light of that. I think it's easy. I define it as social prospecting. I think with the right tools in place, you identify what you're looking for, the search terms you're looking for. But there are people out there, especially on Twitter, we see a lot of, I'm looking, I got to find storage, I got to move out today, right? They're just throwing it out to the ethos. You've got your local hashtags, you've got your zip codes, whatever those are. If you monitor those, you don't have to follow them, sit there all day and watch them, but just have some alerts out there. If you have the right tools, it's a small percentage, but you can be reaching out to people that have no association with your brand. Hey, you're looking for storage, I've got it here.